we have James, who's calling in from Washington. James, you are live on Truth Wanted. What's up?
Hey, Dan, Tom, first time
James?
caller, long time listener. I was talking to my neighbor. He's Catholic, and I don't know if he was trying to mess with me, but he's telling me about people that used to live in this house. I guess he's been next door forever, and it's like, oh, the old lady that lived there, she died in that house. And for me, I was like, yeah, good for her. She, died in the place that she lived forever. But maybe it's because it's a older house, or maybe, I don't know. But sometimes there's noises, and sometimes things are like, I don't remember putting that there, I mean, why did this fall? That kind of thing is going on. So I don't know. Should I do some smudging, or how do you rule out ghosts?
Ooh, how do you rule them out? That's interesting. Tom, what do you think?
How do you rule them in? But you're
like
in Washington, right? There's legal things there that they're not in all states. I'm sure things go missing from time to time. That's fine. It's not always ghosts.
Yeah. How do we rule them in? In other words, do we have any definitive way of knowing that it could be a ghost? I mean, I understand that doesn't always happen. Even in a lot of things, we don't have definitive ways. But do we at least have something that makes it more likely to be a ghost than not? Besides just specific things, is this what they said that somebody died in it, and that's why they think it's a ghost, or why a ghost specifically as opposed to anything else?
Well, I mean, that's what comes to my mind when I'm told that somebody died in the house. He was talking about, because the people that had the house before me, they only last a couple of years before they moved out, and I've been here for a little while. But yeah, just sometimes it's just like, what the heck was that? And I'm going to the back, and the door's open, and I didn't open the door. So I guess.
Do you live with anyone?
A good way of looking at it. Well, no, not right now.
Okay. You have any pets?
Not right now.
Okay. Are you you smoking stuff?
Well, not right now.
Okay.
Not right now.
It could be. I don't know. You don't sound like you're just embarking in this world. Sometimes people forget stuff. That could be the case. To go back to it, ruling ghosts in, you gotta come up with as many that are as plausible as you can. And to my knowledge, they've never actually ruled a ghost in to anything, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing too, right? It's like if you talk about, again, ghost physics, I don't know how it works. Do they have to die in a house in order to be there? Can you die outside of a house and then still haunt things? We don't even know if it was a ghost, what that would even mean, really, right? Yeah, I guess it just has to be humans. Does it include Neanderthals? Does it include Australopithecus afarensis? I mean, I don't know how far back it goes. I don't know. Is there an idea of a consciousness outside of the body that's non-physical? There's a lot of ideas that also have to be shown to be true in order for ghosts to work, right? And it's just I don't even think we have any of those. I'm kind of on Tom's bent here, which is yeah, we have to rule ghosts in before we can rule ghosts out, right?
Sure. I guess I'm kind of thinking of the there's a social kind of aspect with movies and with television, pushing a narrative. But I mean, I guess it doesn't have to be true just because it gets pushed by one faction or the other. But I mean, there's a lot of different. Is it that we're looking for some way of ancestor worship, or is it don't want to let go of those that we love? But I mean, it's hard to.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what it is sometimes. I think you're right, because it's look, if you've known somebody that has died and you were ever close to that person, people often talk about, oh, it still feels like they're still around somewhere, or they expect to see them just around the corner, and they're not there. Because I don't know, humans, we're very good at building psychological profiles in our head of what people are and how they function in our lives, and when they're not there, there's an absence there. I don't know. I think that's part of it.
Mm.
Sometimes I think we just like a good story. Sometimes I think we think human beings are so powerful that our emotions live on after our deaths and are meaningful in some way because we're self-righteous and we want to think that we're more important than we are. I don't know. I think there's a lot of things that come to mind as to why people believe it. I think sometimes people just think ghosts are just kind of a thing that just kind of happens. There's a ghost. It's just kind of out there, and it's just like rain clouds or grass. It's just a thing that's just kind of out there that you just kind of have to watch out for sometimes. So I don't know. I think it's a hodgepodge of things, right?
Yeah,
I
sure. Tom, do you have?
Yeah, I think you should talk to your neighbor and say there is a ghost in there. And she talks to me, and she said you're not a very good neighbor. You don't.
Yeah, that's a strategy too. You could ascribe an intention to the ghost and use it to your advantage. I mean,
Okay.
Well,
let me ask you this. I mean, do you think there's any harm if I was to say, not put any weight behind it, but do some kind of ritual, some kind of cleansing, just to make me feel good? I mean, is there harm in doing that?
Ooh, that's a good question. That's a good question.
I don't think so.
Yeah, you don't think so?
Do what you like. What's the harm? What's the harm? I mean, unless it's harmful.
I think it's different if it's for yourself versus other people. If it's something that's gonna make you feel better about something, I think you should go right ahead. But like, let's say there's a kid that believes in something like that. You're talking to a 5-year-old kid that thinks that there's monsters in the closet, and you think that if you do this thing, I don't know, like maybe if it's like monsters or something, I don't know, like.
Well, hold on about that. Hold on. If you're a 5-year-old kid, right? You believe in monsters. Yeah, do you need? Do I need to just like sit you and be like, they're just not real? Listen, you'll understand when you got your.
It's true. I mean,
cerebral cortex is for more.
Yeah. I mean, like, I guess I'm wary about magical thinking, right? It's like I don't want a kid to pray for something to happen because they think that they're going to talk to a being that's going to grant them that or something. Like, so by that logic, I also don't want a kid to have a ritual that's going to make them go experience, I don't know, monsters going away or something, or think of that. I mean, like, I guess I don't know. Maybe it isn't that harmful though, because like, I mean, most kids really grow up out of that, I guess, right? But like, I don't know. There's people today that still think if you just say the magic words or think the right thoughts, then the universe will do stuff for you. But maybe that doesn't go away if you tell them, that it doesn't work like that as a kid. I don't know. I don't know what makes that go away. It's complicated.
It is, but I think your route is the right route because I personally have kids, and I don't ever tell them, no, ghosts are real. Let's do this ritual to get rid of.
Yeah.
And actually, monsters haven't come up at all, which is interesting.
Maybe because the real monsters are people. You ever thought about that, Tom?
That's what I tell them.
Yeah.
Good night.
People like Bernie Sanders, who may have allegedly killed JFK
from the Watchtower.
From the Watchtower.
James, what do you know about JFK?
I'm learning things today quite a bit.
This is an educational program.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bernard Montgomery Sanders, alleged.
A little bit before my time.
Alleged killer, but no, yeah, I get you. I don't know, Tom. This is like the classic, like, when people are at your grandma's funeral and they say your grandma's in heaven thing, right? It's like, what's socially respectable and what's like, you being an asshole versus being true, right? Like, I don't know. I like, if it's a kid, I feel like teaching them critical thinking skills at an age where it's appropriate, because if they're truly young enough, they can't actually critically think at all, period, right? But if they're old enough to at least start building on some of those concepts, maybe that's a good time to start introducing them rather than pulling away and saying, okay, here's a magic ritual for you to do. But if it's an adult, I don't know. I also have this idea, Tom, that some people won't ever change their minds. As much as I advocate for changing minds, I think some people are just psychologically sort of obstinate and may never change. And maybe we should work around that instead. Maybe like if you have some person in their home who's been in that home for 60 years and they feel like something is off about it and they want to do a ritual, like who am I to tell them not to do that? You know, is that an invasion of human liberty at that point? Is that an invasion of religious reason or privacy? I mean, like, yeah, I think it's stupid. I don't think it's real. But what if it really does make him feel better? Then what? Right? I don't know. Do I take that away? That's tough. I don't know. I'm figuring this all out, James. I don't have a good answer for you.
Well, no, thanks for your input. It's been helpful.
I hope so. I hope so. Because like I said, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like people in the comments are going to say, yes, you should absolutely just knock it all down. Tell them it's bullshit. But and maybe that's true for a lot of cases. But in real life, would I do that? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I would all the time. Sometimes I like to just see it do a magic ritual just to see what happens. You know what I mean? Like maybe there's something to that. I don't know.
Yeah, I had a good buddy that I was talking. I forget what the context was, but I was like, "The rain dances work," and he's
The
like, "We
rain
don't know."
dances.
Yeah, yeah. Like, 'cause I was trying to give an example of something like this thing will not impact that thing, and so I gave him an obvious one. Did rain dances work? He goes, "We don't know. They don't." Like, how do you figure? Like, you can test this pretty easy. We can do the rain dance,
Yeah.
but what they do is they always like, "Oh, you didn't do it right.
Right.
It was just that one thing you got wrong." I think Helen was talking about this the other week.
Yeah.
Like, it's
yeah.
just you didn't say it in the right tone, and
Yeah.
it screws up all that. We got to go kill another crow and let's boil this frog, etc.
Yeah, it's true. Like I guess it does promote again, that's the harm of it, right? It does promote bad ways of thinking. It doesn't promote critical thinking. It literally doesn't, right? It's the opposite of critical thinking. So
That
there is
said,
yeah.
do you have any rituals that you do? And, I mean, think about it, ritual, a thing you do. Do you know, high five
But
before
there
you
are
work
things
out?
yeah, but there are things I do that I think are scientifically shown to benefit. Like if I go to the gym, like I think I, all evidence points to people who go to the gym can live healthier lives, right? For the most part, broadly speaking, because it does things for your body, right? Like, I don't know, that's a ritual, but I don't know. There's some things that are psychologically stimulating that even if that outside of its context wouldn't do anything for you because the context is there, it's better for you, right? I'm trying to think of an example. I don't know, hugging your loved ones as opposed to hugging a stranger. Like if you just say, "Oh, a hug makes you feel better." I don't know if I want to hug you right now, Tom, but if it's somebody I love, like that does something different for me, right? So like hugging by itself may not be the key, but it's the context in which that hug is being had matters. So maybe it's more of a contextual psychological thing, like the high five thing you mentioned. I bet if we worked out and we high fived each other, Tom, I'd want to make that a ritual,
Yeah,
you know?
after every time to
Yeah,
congratulate ourselves on a great workout together.
right. I would enjoy that. I would enjoy that. I think that's a good thing. James, any last words before we wrap up this call?
I love the show and keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you, James. Appreciate it.